Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Now this is the third video, and in the first video we looked at the overview of what fast and beautiful code is all about, and in the second video we said one way to reduce or to make your code fast and beautiful is by trying to stick to what you already know exists. For example, making use of inbuilt functions, making use of libraries instead of trying to reinvent the wheel. Because when you try to do that, number one, you're going to write more lines of codes. Number two, your code may not be optimized. So it's better you use what has been tested before. Now, in this video, we are going to look at another point, our second point. Now, the second point we have here is that I should reduce the usage of conditional structures. For example, the if statements and the select structure. Now, since I'm using Python, I don't need to talk about the select structure because Python does not have anything like a select structure or a select construct. What Python has is the if statements, which is one of the conditional structure, and then ternary operators. So let's see what we can do with this. So I'll move down to an IDE. I'm using VS Code, and in a way I implemented IPython notebook with VS Code, but that doesn't matter. You can use any IDE you want to make use of. Okay, so the first implementation we want to have is basically we are going to be working with functions. We want to write a program that is going to take in a number and then just tell us if the number is even or not. So it's going to return a true or a false. So one way we would have done this is, as usual, to define the function. Let's call the function is even, and then it's taking in a number. Then it's going to tell us if this number is even or odd. So usually we would try to use the if structure and divide the number by 2. Okay, and we say if the division by 2 is equal to 0, then we should return that the number is even. So we say it is 2. But if that is not the case, so we have else. If that's not the case, we have to return that the number is not even. So that means false. So let's try this out and see if it's going to work out. So we call is even, you pass in 3, it's saying that's false. Call is even, passing 8, it's saying that's true. This is going to work out fine. But now we are saying this is not a good way of writing a code. We can reduce our usage of this conditional structure. How can we do that? So what I can do here is to modify this code. Let's call it is even mod, okay, to show that I'm modifying the code. Now, since what I'm looking at here is a function always terminates once it encounters the return statement, since this function is returning something. So we can take advantage of that. How are we going to take advantage of that? We remove this else construct and then just say return false. So we note that this is a conditional structure, so if this condition is satisfied, it will move and return true. But if this condition is not satisfied, it's going to skip this statement and move to the next line. Now once it returns true here, that is where this program is going to end. That's where this function will terminate. It doesn't matter what you have outside this return statement. Once the return statement is encountered, everything below the return statement will be ignored. So we are saying if this return statement, this one we have here that returns true, is not encountered, then just do what's after that. And what's after that? False. So it's going to return false. So this is going to work out fine. If I say is even mod, I pass in 6, it will say it is 2. Is even mod, let's say this time around I pass in 57, it's going to give me false, that that's not an even number, because that's what we expect. But still, I think this is too much, so we can reduce it further. After all, that's what we're doing here, trying to optimize our codes. So for us to reduce this further, all I need within this function is one line. So I can just say return number divided by 2 will give you a remainder that is equal to 0. So this is going to get evaluated. It will divide the number by 2, see what the remainder is. If the remainder is 0, it means our expression here is going to be true. If the remainder is not 0, our expression here is going to be false. So we are saying whatever this expression is, just return it. Just return that answer. Okay? So this is going to be the optimized version of those codes we have there. And this is going to do the work for us. So if we run this, and then we try to, okay, let's modify this. Let's call it is even mode 1. And then let's test it out to see. So I have 7. That will give me false. And if I make that, let's use 12 is even mode 1. Let's say I pass in 12, and that will give me the result as true. Okay, so that's me reducing my usage of conditional structure, because yeah, I didn't have to test. I just went ahead and returns the results. Okay, now another one we are going to look at is you can use it in so many other places, but let's see. I have a question here. I have this question. They said a magic date is a date where the day multiplied by the month is equal to, I think, okay, yes, is equal to the 2 digits here. For example, if I have January the 10th, 1960, that this is a magic date. Now, why is it a magic date? June is the 6th month, and I have the 10th of it, so 6 times 10 will give us 60. And that's equal to this 60 I have here, the last 2 digits. That's why they call that a magic date. So we want to see how we can write a function that is going to tell us if a date is magic date or not. So let's see how we can do that. So let's move back to our program. Okay, so we are going to call this magic date. Okay, let's see. We'll call this magic date. I think I should just bring the question in here so that we'll see what we're working with. Image, I think the source is called question1.png. So I have question1.png. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Okay, so we have this. A magic date is a date where the month. So let's have def. So we are going to call it magic date, right? So we call it is magic date. So let's call it that magic date. So it will take in. Yeah, I'm going to pass in the day. We are taking any day to be a number. Okay, so we are saying the day is a number, which is an integer in this case. We're taking the months. The month should be in full, for example January, February, March, and the rest of that. Then we're taking the year. The year should also be an integer. So this is going to be an integer. This is going to be a string, and this is going to be an integer also. That's what we mean. So let's see. So one thing we could have done is to take in the months. After almost have gotten in the months, we see if the month is equal to January, then we are going to say, okay, that month or the code for that month should be a 1, because we need to convert each of them. We say L if the month is equal to February, then we say the code for that month should be equal to 2. So this is what we are meant to do up to the 12th month, which is December. So if the month is December, we'll make the codes to be equal to 12. But as you can see, this is already going to take a whole lot of code, a whole lot of lines, because if I have for 12 months, then here already I'm going to have 24 lines of code, and that's too much. So the question is, how do we reduce this? So if you recall, or if you've gone to the previous video, please, if you've not gone to the previous video, I'm going to put that in the description below so you can go to the previous video. Okay, that's the first point we had, and all these points are far too relevant because I'm going to be building on these points. Now, in the first video, we worked with what they call dictionary comprehension. So yeah, I can work with dictionary comprehension to take care of this. So how do I work with dictionary comprehension? What I can basically do is to have the codes. I can call it month codes. I'll say the codes. I have this to be January. January should be 1. I'll move down to February. I'm making use of this dictionary. Okay, February should be 2, March should be 3, but that's still going to be it's going to be shorter than this one we're trying to do here. Quite alright. But here we are testing. Testing is going to take a whole lot of, apart from taking much code, is also going to take much time, since we are comparing things. Whenever you do comparison, it comes to the costs. Okay, so this is not this in this case you're not comparing. If I use a dictionary, I'm just looking up. And whenever you're using hash map, because a dictionary is a hash map, okay, it's hash table, the lookup time for hash table is constant, is always 1. When it comes to algorithm, the time complexity is always a constant. So we are not really going to have that performance issue by using the hash map, which is a dictionary in this case. So I can say January is 1, I'll move down to February, say February is 2, March is 3, and the rest of that. But that's still going to take time. So for that reason, we are going to use the dictionary comprehension here. Now, before I use the dictionary comprehension, I want to show you still one more function that is going to make our work easy. So what's that function? I think I should do that at the top here. So I'm going to import the date model, the date time model. And within the date time model, we have date. It takes 3 arguments. The first argument it takes, like we have it here, is the year, which is an integer. So let's give it the year. Let's say let's take any year, 2020. Let's use 2020 for example. Then it takes the month, which is also an integer. Let's give it the month of February. Then the day, which is also an integer. Let's give it the 3rd day. If you run this, that's going to give you this date time object. Okay, it's a date object. But I don't want this. What I want here, I want to extract just the months. So for me to extract just the months, I'll use a function called string format time, and then I'll pass in an argument which is a string with the percentage sign and then small letter b. Now when you give it small letter b, it's going to return the months in 3 letters. That's February. But if I use capital letter B, it's going to return the months in full. So what I want to do is to be changing this month from 1 down to 12 and then return it in full. So instead of me to write much code there, I'm going to use less lines of code. Okay, so I will import this. Let me put it as part of this. So I'm going to import this here. Then I'm going to use this here. how do I use that? I'll use X, or I can say this is months column the code, but for months okay, instead of me even using the months, I'm going to use this old stuff here. I'll say okay, so this is going to be the code. I'll put the code there. So the code is going to start from 1. Okay, I want to make this code, when the code is 1, this is going to give me January. Then I'll format that, which will give me January in full. I'll change this one to be a 2, change it to be a 3, up to when it becomes a 12. So I'll say for code in range, so my range is going to start from 1, and then to move down to, I'll use 13 so that it will stop at 12. Okay, so let's see if this actually works. So for me to see that, I'll just print out the result. Let's print months codes. I think that's what I have there. Yeah, months codes, and let's see if that works out fine. So we have an error already. They said there's syntax error, invalid syntax, range 1 comma. For I in, I didn't put my in there. So it's going to be for code in. Okay, I have another syntax error. Why are we having this error here? Elif. I think I commented all of this. So why is it showing me error there? Let's see the issue. Let's just remove this. For in line 5, line 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't have any line 5 here. So what are you talking about? Duplicate arguments ints in function definition. Ints. Okay. I think that's the mistake I made. So these are meant to be here. These are called type ints. Okay, they are not compulsory for you to make use of. This is a string. I'm just trying to make use of them so that the user would know what is trying to input. So this is an integer. Alright, I think that should work fine now. Okay, that works fine. So this is what we have. These are new implementation, okay, in Python. So you can go ahead and make use of it. It's not removing the dynamic nature of Python, but it gives the user a hint as to what to expect. So let's print out and see. Let's call it magic dates. We'll pass in the day. Let's say it is 12. We'll pass in the month. Let's say 6. And then we'll pass in the year 1990. So I just want to confirm this. So this is working fine. It generated the dictionary for us. So now we are going to work with that. Now it doesn't matter the year I use there. Don't mind the year, don't mind the day. You can use anything you want. All we're interested in is the month. So I'm just trying to extract the month, and I don't want to be typing January, February, March, April. That's the reason I'm using that. Okay, so now let's work on this. So number one, you can see that we've reduced the amount of code. Instead of using a couple of if statements, we used a hash map, okay, a data structure here to take care of this. So what we need to do next now, we have to say we need to get the day, multiply the day with the months, okay, or in this case the months code, multiply it with the month code and see if it's equal to the last 2 digits here. So how can we do that? What we can do is just to say if day times the month code, if day times the month code, of whatever is being passed in, which is going to be the months, if it is the same thing as the last 2 digits of the year. For you to get the last 2 digits of the year, you can simply divide the year by 100. But if I divide 1990 by 100, I'm going to get the last 2 digits. Okay, so we are assuming that the year is coming in as a 4-digit integer. So when you divide by 100, you're going to get the last 2 digits. Okay, so I'm using the percentage, so it's giving me the remainder, which is going to be the last 2. So if they are equal, then I'm going to return that it is 2, that day is a magic date. So I'm going to return 2, otherwise I'm going to return false. Okay, so I don't need this. So let's try out for something that we know that is actually, and why did I pass in 5 here? It's not meant to be 5, so I'm meant to pass in, let's try June. And they gave us an example of June 10th, right? Let's confirm that from the question. They said, for example, June 10th, 1960. So let's use 1960 here. Let's see if it's going to be a magic date. And they said that's true, that's a magic date. How wonderful. So we can try some other one. Let's try something that is not a magic date. Okay, let's try June 10th, 1910. That's a false. But if I change this to January, what will I get? That's a true. So this is working fine, okay? But still, we can reduce this. Instead of us using this, all we can do is to remove these lines of codes and here return this expression, and that will take care of it. So I'll remove this column here, so I have everything in 3 lines of code. So we'll try this again. You run this, that's a true. You run this, that's a true. So it's still going to work out fine for you. So this is just to illustrate the concept of you reducing the usage. You can see I didn't use any conditional loop structure here. Okay, all I used were just data structure and then my return statements. No conditional statements. That's you reducing the usage of conditional statements. So that's it for this video. As usual, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if my videos are helping you in any way. Okay, and I'll see you guys in the next video, where we're going to look at some other points on how to reduce or how to make our code fast and beautiful, because believe me, this code we have here is actually beautiful. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.